Is aiming to tackle the stigma of menopause. Lina Mookerjee has 20 years' experience as a psychotherapist and educator, and she's aiming to raise awareness of this natural stage in a woman's life, which so often can cause some. Talk a little bit about your approach to menopause and why for some women it's such a difficult time.
Okay, so thank you for having me on, Richard. It's lovely to meet you. My approach to menopause is actually seeing it as a pro-health perspective, but also that it's a major window in a woman's life, a really precious time window of the potential for growth, for self-realisation, awareness raising and change. And instead of this myth around it being almost the decline time and becoming the hag, it's quite the opposite. It's when a woman comes into her wisdom. And what I find with a lot of the clients that I work with and students that I've taught is this confusion around this natural process of a woman who, you know, is going through a change, a massive change of no longer being fertile and the need to create in terms of babies, but actually coming into her own creation and for it to be almost a really magical time. And so I'm on a bit of a campaign to challenge the old myths.
Why is isolation an issue so often for women who are going through the menopause?
Because of the taboos. The taboos
you
around...
feel there is still a real stigma?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And there's always... When people sort of share their stories about menopause, Richard, it's like it starts with a laugh of, oh God, the change, the curse, to then saying, actually, Lina, you know, I've been to my GP and they think I'm bonkers. Am I going mad? I've run several workshops, Richard, within Nottingham, where women have come forward to share their horror stories, and it's really sad. So it's almost like we needing to be quiet about it. Don't raise issues around it or even wanting to know because you're labelled. Do
you think GPs need education themselves?
Yes. Absolutely.
And how is that going to come about, do you think? And what needs to change in their mindset so that they are more facilitative for women who come to them?
Right. To not see it as a disease or a problem, it's a natural phase of life. And to be curious about what's going on for a woman from not only a physical perspective, but also a multidimensional awareness in terms of her psychology, her spirituality. Okay, I've said the S word, and the four-letter word, it's often said in science as being the soul, that actually it's the complete metamorphosis process that should be welcomed instead of seen as something wrong.
For women, though, the loss of those physical trappings of youth and those hormonal changes can be very disempowering.
Yes.
How do you address that inevitable feeling that's going to come over somebody that's going through the menopause?
I invite them to meet it, to meet the loss, because menopause and the process of going through, as you say, a radical change, yes, it's loss and also what's to be gained. So it's about meeting what is happening as is and being empathic and embracing it, but working with it. And that's what I do.
How useful is HRT?
It is useful. My mother had it and lots of clients have had it. It's how easily now it's been offered as an option rather than an option alongside others. So that's my only sense of, But I have seen the benefits absolutely with people that I
Because, I mean, often women will find that a very difficult decision, won't they? Whether or not to go on HRT. And there are things, risks of cancer and all sorts of other peripheral issues that are involved. So that's something, in practical terms, that needs tackling, isn't it?
It certainly does. And for me, Richard, it's seeing interventions from a multi-perspective. If we can use, from a physical perspective, in terms of HRT, with others, great. It's when it's used as the only option that it creates imbalance. And actually, those symptoms that we're experiencing, because I've gone through menopause twice, that actually it's about looking at what the symptoms are, what they mean, what they're telling us, and actually working with them rather than trying to suppress or change them. Because what I often find, the experiences of migraine, hot flushes, etc., it's to do with a lot of anger. Unprocessed stuff.
It's been so interesting to talk to you, and good luck with your continued work. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks to all my guests, and I hope you have a great evening. We'll be back tomorrow with A Up Knots at 5:30. Bye-bye.